We back with more Tee It Up. We here to talk about some playoff basketball. Today we're going to talk about the playoffs in a different way, right? We're going to talk about the playoffs in a stock exchange way. I'm buying and selling things playoff related. So this is the playoff stock exchange. We got three things we're buying, three things we're selling. I'm going to start off with some positivity. I want to start off with something that I'm buying, and I'm buying on this heavily because I am a Knicks fan, because we have regained lead of the series and we look like a much different team than some of the instances we had earlier in the series. But I'm buying in on running the offense through Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns over the last couple of games has been a beauty to watch. I think he's kind of rejuvenated this team, especially offensively, and we just look a lot better. We look more dominant, and we look like the team that we should have been at the very early portion of this series. The Knicks have just flowed better offensively, right? Karl-Anthony Towns is a mismatch problem for the Atlanta Hawks. We have the size advantage, and outside of the size advantage, they really just don't have anybody that can just keep up with him. And we've seen them go through a lot of different things to try to slow him down. Obviously, they started off with double O, Aneka Kongwu on him. Then you started to see Dyson Daniels on him. You've seen Jonathan Kuminga take that assignment. Mo Gay off of the bench has tried to. And what has resulted in this is Karl-Anthony Towns catching the ball far away from the basket, which is something that a lot of us Knicks fans, in the low points of the series, we're frustrated with because you see a Dyson Daniels on Cat, and it's like, man, let Cat get it on the block, feed him the basketball, and let him go to work. And instead, he's been catching the ball towards the 3-point line. But what has happened over the last few games is the playmaking has been unlocked, and it has just given Karl-Anthony Towns so many different options to, again, give the Knicks a certain identity offensively in this series and just give them a much easier time and a better flow to where the Hawks look lost. The last two games, we have had dominant wins where the Hawks have absolutely looked like they stood no chance. And you have Karl-Anthony Towns, who can be a screen setter. He can roll. He can pop. He can get it on the block. He can face up. And more importantly, he can drive with that big body and frame. So a lot of times now we're seeing Karl-Anthony Towns catch it at the 3-point line or above the 3-point line. And when he's driving, the Atlanta Hawks defense has to commit help because you can't leave him one-on-one with Dyson Daniels or Jonathan Kuminga. And the help allows an OG Anunoby to get all of those corner threes, maybe shift the defense and cause them to rotate to get a clean look for Brunson or Mikal Bridges, who hasn't had the best series. And then on top of that, we have now started to see some action, some split actions with Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby, rather, where OG has really carved out the Atlanta Hawks defense with these backdoor cuts and these overt dunks. And it turns into that with a dribble handoff for Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, where Brunson is able to drive and Cat is popping. And again, we are just picking our poison and we're rolling. And then we've taken control of the series lead wise now with a 3-2 lead and also momentum wise. It creates again too many options for the Atlanta Hawks. So I am hoping that this could not only be something that we expose in this particular series, but going forward, this may be something that we can, put into our bag and have discovered to go further. Because again, next series against the Boston Celtics, potentially, because they still have the door open there with the 76ers and the win that they had last night, they're struggling with containing Embiid. And in the two games that he's come back with Vucevic or Kada and Luka Garza, those guys are bigger bodies than the Atlanta Hawks have, but they won't be able to keep over Karl-Anthony Towns either. And I think it could open up some more easier things for the New York Knicks going forward. We have we have found something, and I think it's a little bit reminiscent of what Mike Brown did with the Sacramento Kings and Sabonis, right? Sabonis was more of their hub, able to play off the elbows and find backdoor cutters and dribble handoffs with De'Aaron Fox. And we saw what that offense was able to do for the Sacramento Kings to give them some of the best success that they had saw in decades almost. So some of the similar stuff, except that Karl-Anthony Towns has a little bit more range and you can start some actions further away from the basket, create more space and opportunities and driving lanes for the New York Knicks. So again, we are buying Karl-Anthony Towns as the hub and running the offense through him. And again, the last point I'll make, the success offensively for Cat, right? He had a triple double, I believe, in game 4. He had 6 assists the other game the night before. It's rejuvenated him defensively. I think Karl-Anthony Towns is arguably playing again some of his best defense in these last couple of games as well. getting blocks, being active in the passing lanes, getting his hands on things, being committed, talking, and just having, again, more of a presence. Nobody's ever asking Karl-Anthony Towns to be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate or completely remove somebody from a series or a game because we know some of the shortcomings he has defensively. But just him being present and giving us anything, I think just puts the Knicks in a much better tier as a complete basketball team. So I'm buying in on what the Knicks are doing and what Karl-Anthony Towns has looked like, and has been one of the best players in these NBA playoffs throughout these first 5 games of the Knicks series. Switching gears.
Hit subscribe for more news, highlights, and analysis from the NBA on NBC.